Hi, everybody. We are here to talk about sustainable menstruation today. And we do have Ganesh, he's the director, Shikap, with us. And we have Aparna from Stylish Suitcase to take this conversation forward. They will be joining us in a minute. Hi, Ganesh, are you there?
Hello, I'm good, Pallavi. How are you?
I'm good too. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for
I'm
having
just
me.
waiting for Aparna to join.
Sure.
Let's just give her a second.
Yep.
How have you been otherwise? How is the lockdown is still there in Bombay, right?
Yes.
Oh,
The lockdown is. Sorry.
are you you based out of Mumbai?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I'm based out of Mumbai. We still like under lockdown as such, but things seem to be improving in Maharashtra. So let's hope things get better with time.
Yeah.
How about Bangalore? I heard you guys went under lockdown also recently.
Yeah, we are under a kind of a partial lockdown right now, but we are hearing that it's going to get a little bit more serious from
Okay.
this weekend.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so I think she's trying to join. Aparna, are you there? Aparna, it says she joined, but
Oh yeah, there she is.
hi, how are you?
Hi, can you hear me? Good, good.
Yes,
Can you hear
yes,
me? Okay.
yes, we
Oh,
can.
hello,
So I'll
Aparna.
just do a round of
Hi.
introductions and then we'll get started. So
Okay.
Ganesh is the director, Shika. And Ganesh, like you know, Aparna is a sustainability advocate and
Yeah,
she's very active when it comes to talking about concepts that are more, the everyday kind of things which we
correct.
face on a continuous basis. And she's very vocal, she's very clear about how she talks about it also. So
Yes.
we'll just get started. The aim of this chat is to answer a few questions around the sustainable methods of handling menstruation, which is typically to talk about the menstrual cup usage. People have
Correct.
certain questions and queries around their concerns around how to move from the conventional methods like the tampons and the pads, sanitary pads, to a menstrual cup.
Absolutely.
And then if you also throw a little bit of light on what motivated you to really engage in this kind of a venture, and then how is
Yeah,
it going for you, and what kind of feedback and reviews do you keep getting? That'll be great. Yeah. So
definitely.
over to you.
So, yeah. So, thank you, and nice to meet you, Aparna, virtually,
Nice to meet
obviously.
you
But
too.
yeah. Basically, the this organization was started by my father and my uncle back in 2009. And the story behind it is actually very interesting and also very personal and touching to me and my family. So we lost a very close family member, well, in our immediate family, to cervical cancer. Now we lost her not because as you know, cervical cancer, like any other like most cancers, is curable at a very early stage of detected. But she wouldn't voice out her pains and whatever she was going through. That was because of the kind of society she was raised in. These things are considered to be taboo, and people don't really voice their feelings out, or even if they're going through pains. So, and when we found out about it, it was a little too late for any medical professional to do anything about it. So it was it really touched all of us. Like I was quite young back then, but I wasn't that young to not understand what was going on, and what kind of taboo was prevalent around the society to do with such topics, and it was quite it was quite moving for all of us. Like we were quite disturbed with this entire event. And so my father and my uncle, they started they decided to start working in this field. And I was always closely associated with this organization, as we tried to we initially started with introducing menstrual hygiene and these kind of practices like in the society. It and talk about it, like basically start a conversation about it in different parts of the society. So I was always part of it, like I was closely associated with it. 7-8 years back, I started working with it on a very on the ground level, like answering calls and helping customers find out what they're going through and how it is. And 4 years back, I officially started holding a title in this organization. So basically, I'm forwarding the vision of breaking the period taboo, and starting a conversation about these things. But also we took it a step further, like with the introduction of She Cup, the menstrual cup that we launched in 2010. We took it a step further from there, because we realized that breaking the taboo is one part of the entire picture, right? Like when you start a conversation, there are multiple problems that come with it. With this taboo benefits only organizations that are into unsustainable menstrual practices, that not only pollute the environment as such, but also harm the human body because of the chemicals and the plastic that is in those products. So we really thought about it, and we tried to understand that what can we do? How can we take this a step further from just breaking the taboo, like from just talking about it. So that's when we started introducing this concept of sustainable menstruation. And we worked with multiple medical professionals, multiple gynecologists and medical research scientists who were working in this field. To an extent, we also worked with the president of the Fraternity of Obstetrics and Gynecology in India, which is Dr. Mahapatra. And with them, like with their inputs and with their guidance, we developed the first menstrual cup, which was completely developed in Asia, like in India, and we are the first menstrual cup brands in Asia. So instead of back then when we started, there were 3-4 brands in the entire world, right? Like 2 of them were from America, a couple of them were from Europe. But instead of getting those products over here and marketing those products over here, we decided to do our own research and develop our own products in the country, so that we can we have a more effective reach in the society, in the Indian society especially. That was our initial aim, and then from there we grew global. So it is so, as I said, as this conversation also entails us talking about menstruation to, say, daughters, and like how mothers introduce these things. So what we also found out was usually menstrual practices, right? Like with our experiences in doing the menstrual hygiene management program in multiple parts of the country, from big corporations to small government organizations to gram panchayats to rural areas, what we found out was menstrual habits usually stem from is a generational thing, right? Like it usually stems from, say, mother to daughter, aunt to niece, or like a older sister to a younger sibling. So and we get massively, like in our society it's more of a hush thing, like we don't speak about it much, but it usually stems from it usually stems from a very close family member. So it's quite interesting to also understand that because it is not spoken about so much and it usually is influenced. Where do we also need to understand where do mothers or say older sisters get influenced from? They get influenced from
Hmm.
either their own parents or from the advertisements that are going on or are prevalent in the society or on social media or wherever, so it's very
Correct.
interesting why we see menstrual cups are not that popular as of now, even though they've been in existence since 1932, right? Like the first menstrual cup that was patented was back in 1932. So it's
Wow.
almost going to be,
Really?
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Even
It's
I read about this. Yeah.
Yes, so it's almost like in
Amazing.
a decade's time, it's gonna be 100 years, like since menstrual cups have been widely available, like not widely available, but have been in existence. And it's very interesting. It's very interesting why, and we will in later in the talk we will dive deep into why it is not like not so prevalent in the society as of now, and there are multiple cultural and
Yeah.
socio-economic reasons for it, and we shall, but before that I would like to hear your perspectives on about how you introduce periods
Yeah.
or
So
menstrual hygiene to
so
your
this is
daughters. Yeah.
news to me, though. This is news to me also. Though I know I thought I've done my homework and I've read a little bit about it, but but yeah. I mean, it seems like it's almost as old as the usual things that are used during menstruation. So this
Yeah.
is something which definitely has been influenced by the generations which have really passed on these practices to us and then before us. So probably there was no visibility to how it's, or probably there was no importance that was given to a sustainable mean of menstruation also, because in any which ways it's a process that you don't talk too much about, and you don't
Absolutely.
indulge into too
But
many
I read about,
activities while you are actually.
yeah.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was quite interesting what you said because I had read that there was shortage of rubber, World War II, and then and during that period, then tampons and all these kind of things also started coming out. So convenience always takes over, and I think
yeah.
that couldn't have, wasn't marketed or didn't have those marketing budgets.
I
So there
think
were a couple of reasons it didn't succeed, is what I understood. Yeah.
I think more than if you really understand the cultural reasons, right? Like more than convenience, it is okay. So pads and tampons make perfect economic sense for any business, right? Like because you get
Exactly.
once you
You
get
you buy
the
more.
person hooked on to the product,
Yeah.
and it's disposable. You're gonna keep you're gonna have that customer buy your products again and again and again and again. Whilst if you say, like I can speak for She Cup, if you buy a She Cup per se, you will like you don't need to buy another menstrual cup for at least 10 years. That's what we say as a company, because we've been in existence for the past 12 years. But our internal extended lifetime studies show that you can use this use this particular She Cup for your entire menstrual lifetime if used correctly, if not overboiled, if not like if you don't add any chemicals for cleaning and things of that nature. So
Hmm.
it's something that for any business out there, say multinational corporations that have that sell pads and tampons, it doesn't make economic sense. Like it
Sense.
absolutely doesn't make any economic sense. So the
It's like
post
any
World
other
War,
pharma product. Yeah.
yeah.
Any
I mean,
So
it's
product,
like
I
a
think.
correct.
a supplement kind of a thing which you get hooked
Yeah.
on to, and then you really don't want to because you don't. It's so convenient. You've been there. You've been using it, and of
Absolutely.
course there are some bodily changes also which happen because of that, and then you have that fear that I move away from it, and how will things change for me?
Correct.
So in that context, I mean, I think like Ganesh shared with me last time that how mothers are the biggest influencers of these things on their daughters, and I had the same conversation with Aparna, and then she was in the process of actually having her older one move in this direction. But of course,
Uh-huh.
Ganesh, you shared that information with me, and I passed it on to her that
Yeah.
maybe we are doing it too early because she's
Yep.
just about 13. And
Yep.
for I think for menstrual cups, girls should get started on it at a particular age. I'll let
So
you talk about it, but yeah.
yeah. So basically, like we have done, like with doctors and gynecologists, we have done these extensive clinical trials where young girls from the age of 12, 13 who have started menstruating they have used the menstrual cup and things like that. But happens is like, to be honest, like what happens is young girls and young menstruators usually, it's such a daunting process when it all starts, right? Like it's something very new that is
Yeah.
happening to the body, and it's already so overwhelming and so much to take in that if you introduce a different kind of a process altogether, like that takes a little bit of understanding, that takes a little bit of technique and method to how to insert, how to use, it becomes a very overwhelming process for
Process,
young
yeah.
girls. And something that's going inside the body, they sometimes they are so, like, not even young girls, to be honest, like even older menstruators are sometimes very daunted with the entire process, like initially in the first
Yeah.
two cycles when they're still getting used to it, it's quite daunting for them. But once they get used to it, it's much easier. They never look back at pads. So that's the same
Yes.
thing with like young girls also. But as they grow older, like as menstruators grow older, like nearing the age of 15, 16, where they have gone through the periods for say a couple of years, and like it becomes a natural process for them also. It becomes easier for them to switch, because that that time it is like that time, obviously it is still a very irritating process to wear pads and stuff like that, to
Hmm.
have that bulky and itchy feeling. But they are also looking forward to changing. But as you grow older, you make it your comfort zone. Even if you're uncomfortable, that becomes your comfort zone, and you're more resistant to making the sustainable switch. So what I would suggest is like the cloth pads is something that young girls, who are at the age of
Or
13.
underwear is also the
Yeah,
period underwear, I think. Huh?
correct,
But no
correct, correct.
Indian
So
brand come out with it yet. My German friend forwarded one to me, and my American, I think there's an American brand called Things. But I'm so surprised this happens always when you're looking for an Indian brand. I mean,
yes,
and then you don't find an Indian brand making a period underwear, because
yes,
I'm sure that the young, like for 13, it's a big market, right? Like, and it's one of the
yeah,
best options. I got the
correct, correct.
reusable ones, and honestly, it's very bulky. Even I didn't like it, and she's been complaining. And going back to like also, I think, okay, we have to educate our daughters, but the problem is even so many women my age or younger, 30s, are not into it. So if she's going to be
Yeah,
the only one in her class, and her friends' mothers don't
Hmm.
know about it. So
correct, correct.
that also, I think for me, the largest issue is that I think people our age, mothers have to be first moved into this,
Absolutely.
then, then going to the daughters, because as he said, it's very difficult. It's a difficult time. The body changes. And if you're the only one, it's already like, mommy, nobody else in my class even knows about this. Their moms don't even talk about it. So it's like, it's too much already, like
Yeah.
being this one mom who's already considered extremely alternative in the sustainable lifestyle. So I just not pushed. Of course, I had these conversations, and they understand it, and I'm happy. And she's still 13, and I'm hoping. I was just going to order things, but I was waiting for an Indian brand because I really just want an Indian or even a Thai, because I live in Thailand. But there is no period underwear, and right now for her in Thailand, there is no option. Like even those India has biodegradable ones, which are like coconut fiber, banana fiber. I think pads
Yeah,
are being made in India, right?
but
Yeah.
like in like biodegradable pads, like so what happens is usually these biodegradable pads use certain amount of plastics, right? Like I myself, I'm sorry, like I introduced myself as the director of this organization, but through my academic backing, I'm also an innovation and sustainability specialist, right? So
Okay.
when I obviously working in this field, I look at many different products such as pads and biodegradable pads and things of that nature. So most of these biodegradable pads use a certain amount of plastic in them so that they don't leak, right? Like so,
Really? Even the
yeah.
100% sustainable they claim? Okay. I mean, I saw some
So
Indian brands that tried it, yeah.
yeah, so what happens is with these biodegradable pads, because of the even if it is a biodegradable plastic, biodegradable plastic usually works in the
Ah,
sense
okay.
of it has cross-linking polymers which have carbs or
Yes.
protein embedded in them. So when the bacteria, when it's put in the ground, the bacteria wants to eat the carb or the protein or the enzyme that has been embedded in the cross-linking polymer. It eats through the plastic and reaches the enzyme. But in that process, the bacteria is not designed to like naturally not designed to eat or digest the plastic. So it just bites through it and creates a lot of microplastic. Now microplastic is a major problem and a much
Even
bigger
worse,
Yes.
problem
yeah.
than macroplastic, because it not only enters it not only
The
pollutes
water.
the land, the water,
Yeah.
but it also enters our own food chain. You know, it gets
Yes.
Yeah.
it gets accumulated in our digestive systems, and also with other plants and animals. You know, when they take this microplastic in, it affects them. So it is actually, it doesn't really solve the problem as such, but it enhances the problem in a much larger way that is not really
Oh my
thought
God.
about or is not really common to understand. Because obviously these kind of things require a certain amount of research and a certain amount of like also understanding of the field as to how these plastic polymers work and things of that nature, which is not really prevalent. And like our addiction, like our societal addiction to plastic, like I'm sure you guys
And convenience,
know.
exactly.
Yeah,
Anything disposable
convenience.
and convenient
Absolutely.
is so that is
Absolutely.
a problem. I understand that has to go,
Absolutely.
but I think the second option after the cup should be the underwear or the reusable pad. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
these are the only
definitely.
real sustainable options.
Definitely.
That's what I understand. Yeah. So, any
Yeah, so
questions or like?
I yeah, not yet. So, but just to reiterate, I mean, Aparna, you have been doing this. So, so do you? Is it a fairly complicated process to even share this information? I mean, because like Ganesh said, there is anyway so much information to be shared right now. I mean, of course, it's not all now. You would have shared it at different points in time, but then to along with all this to introduce a certain kind of a product which of course is not as easy to use, not for that particular age group, does it make it very daunting, I mean, for
No,
the
not at all. Not at all, I think, because my kids already know this is our lifestyle, right? In terms, just not about the cup. In terms of, I compose
yeah.
food, we try and eat a plant-based diet as much as possible. I mean, we just do try and reduce our individual footprint as much as possible. And my younger one also goes for climate change. You know, she participates in certain things in school. She draws. You've seen some of her things. So some of it's
Yeah,
come from
yeah.
them. In fact, my older one was when she was 10 years, she used to love pork. And in Thailand, as I always say, meat is heavily subsidized. Broccoli is more expensive. I just hope these kind of policies change after the pandemic, this whole food, like all these things,
Hmm.
right? Like, so it's, but we changed. So I think it's not at all difficult for me because my children understand these things. I mean,
Yeah,
whether like
because they're
although like,
exposed to, yeah, that happening all over. I mean, on a large
I
scale,
think
they
it's
know
what
these
it is. I mean,
concepts.
I
Yeah.
think they know these things. I mean, there's no running away like you see it. I mean, they also understand the bushfire or the whale, which carried the baby
Hmm.
for so. I mean, these are all just there. We are driving ourselves towards extinction, and this generation has to face it. So I think they're aware of it from school, and the only thing what's in individual control is, of course, you can be an activist and push governments to change policies, all of that. But I think the individual level, we can make changes, right? So, and when it comes to a menstrual cup, it's the easiest. Like for everything else, people argue, oh, this is plant-based is expensive, that is this issue, that issue, or even composting. People might say, I don't have a balcony, but there is really no excuse for this. It's cheaper, it's more convenient, it's more sustainable.
Yeah.
It's like, what is holding you back, right? This is the perfect, like this. I wish I discovered it earlier. That's my only regret. I think the menstrual cup should be the easiest switch for anybody because it's actually more comfortable and convenient. And it's just a coincidence I got the She cup. I mean, it was just a few years back. I was at my cousin's house, and like she recommended this. And the next day, it was Amazon. I don't know where. I just ordered it, and it came. And for me, I think I was lucky, or maybe the She cup is perfect. It's just that my first period, I was used to it. It took 1, 2, 3 trials. Of course,
Yeah.
everybody's vagina, cervix. I mean, different people have different issues for sure, and people have to figure it out. People keep saying, will it leak, or what is the size? I honestly don't have the answers for that because I didn't have any of those issues with the She cup. I just got it.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. It was like, that was, as I said, by the end of the first period, I had mastered it, I felt, So I was like, okay, this is
Aparna, so that's actually the thing with most She cup users, right? Like these apprehensions are before buying the cup, and these apprehensions about, say, like what size and things like that, I think it also stems back to the previous topic, that we were talking about, that how like because these products last a long time, it doesn't make as much as economic sense. So most organizations over there
Mm-hmm.
make different sizes of the cup, which can be used at like different ages and things like that. But what we realized, so in the initial years of developing this product, right, like we put in like around 1.5 years of experimentation, research, and clinical trials and things of that nature, working with doctors and stuff. So what we realized is the total menstrual fluid that is secreted during a period cycle is between 20 to 80 ml, right? And on an average, being 50 to 60 ml. So the She cup can hold around 28 ml of menstrual fluid, and secondly, like, so that means like you can wear it on a heavy flow day without it being a problem. And without it leaking or without it staining and things like that, and it can be worn up to 12, like as an organization we say 10 to 12 hours, but we've had people who've come to us and said, like, oh, I just forgot about it because it's so comfortable and I've been wearing it for 24 hours.
absolutely. I feel the same.
Yeah,
Like it's so comfortable. You saw those
yeah,
pictures in the mangrove. I mean, you're so
yeah,
deep in water, slushy. I could have never done that with a pad or a tampon. First of all, for
yeah,
me, the biggest worry will be the toxins into the environment. Like I think
correct,
of myself as a secondary thing. Different people
correct,
switch for different reasons. For me, it was just the landfill pollution. And but
yeah,
when I was wearing the She cup, it was like so
yeah,
comfortable to just do that activity and like
yeah,
slush, water, everything, but nothing, no leakage, nothing.
yeah.
And I came back,
So so so
that's
that's
the
the
thing. It's really
yeah.
convenient, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? Like, so we stand. That's why to make this entire, firstly, like this entire topic has been heavily tabooed, right? Like, people
Yeah.
make it more
That's the biggest
complicated
issue
than,
I feel. Yeah.
yeah, people make it more complicated than it actually is. So that's why
You
we
don't
want
have a
this to,
community where you can go and talk about these things, or even because within your household, of course, this is the first time that you are the one who's trying it. So whom do you ask? And then
correct.
outside, it's anyways a taboo, so you can't
Yeah,
really talk so freely about it. And I
absolutely.
don't think there is I mean, I'm sure there are forums, but then people have these issues which they think that if I talk about this, maybe I'm exposing too much of myself, and then maybe I'll
Absolutely.
not be considered as somebody who's like a normal human being. So they
Correct.
don't really even come out and ask these questions. So
Correct.
I think it's a great start for us to really break this taboo, because it's high time that and we can't really do this to our kids who would, I mean, I'm sure they don't even think of it as such a big taboo, but then of course with time they might get into the same mind frame like all of us did, right? Because we did break a few, but then of course there's just too much around it. So just to
But
aid and abet that, I think this is a great forum. What the
it's
conversations that
it's
are happening
also
here.
Yeah, so Aparna, it's all sorry, Pallavi. It's also to do with the media conditioning, right? Like
Yes.
Yeah.
these organizations, like heavily taboo this thing, and they tell you to stay free. They tell you to whisper about it and
Yeah.
hush hush about
Whisper.
it. You know what I mean, right? Like so that because of that, like it creates this mindset
Yes.
around this topic,
Yes.
and
Yes.
so as I was saying before, also like when we stand, there is a reason why we standardize the size, because we ourselves are heavily sustainability oriented people, right? Like all of us in our family are very sustainability driven people, and we didn't want,
Hmm.
like, the problem that we were trying to eradicate was menstrual hygiene waste, like obviously break the taboo, but also the menstrual hygiene waste that has been created by unsustainable menstrual practices. So
Exactly. Exactly.
so our aim wasn't to sell more of these to the same people, right? Like that was never our aim. Our aim was
Correct.
to standardize the process, to make it much more simpler, educate the society, and empower them to adopt
Yes.
these sustainable menstrual practices. So, like, there are many, as you rightly mentioned before, Aparna, there are these many apprehensions, like what size should I buy, what whether my cervix is high or low, and things of that nature. But we
Yeah.
worked like that's why we worked with a lot of gynecologists to actually figure this out, right? Like and we understood that the size of the cervix doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because when you insert when you the size of the cup depends on the amount of menstrual flow you have. Now we standardize the size so that you can use it throughout your menstrual lifetime, and not just one particular point in your menstrual lifetime, so that
Hmm. Hmm.
we don't become part of the menstrual waste problem, but we
Yes.
actively try to reduce it. So that is one. Secondly, like there are some people who say, okay, like, like who use the cup and then they say, oh, it's leaking and it's staining and things like that. So there are two reasons for it, right? Like initially, when you start using a menstrual cup, whether it's a she cup or any other menstrual cup, it has there is a certain amount of change that you go through, right? Like it is a
Correct.
very different consumer journey than, say, using a pad or a tampon. So yeah,
Hmm.
it takes a couple of cycles for you to get used to it, like obviously the insertion where the cup needs to remain and things like that, and whether it forms a proper suction or no. So that is one. And the second reason is usually, like because of after delivery, or say, because of this excessive sedentary lifestyle that we are used to, the pelvic floor muscles become weak, and because of
Weak.
that they can't
Correct.
hold the menstrual cup in or the she cup in that particular place that it is meant to be, and that's why it slides down. So now those things, like, obviously these are recommended by gynacs and things like that, and medical professionals also, that you to improve your pelvic floor muscles, you need to do some Kegel exercises, and
Correct.
enhance those the capability of those muscles. Now, and we've seen, like, in the past also, right? Like we've seen many people do come to us with these problems. We've recommended the same, that just Google or YouTube, some Kegel exercises, and do it. Like after they do it for, say, like after they have had this incident of leakage and things like that, and then they come to us and we tell them to do these Kegel exercises, the next period they're perfectly fine. They can use the she cup without
Correct.
any problem, because it gives your body enough time for you to develop those muscles, to hold the she cup again for your next cycle.
Tighten those muscles. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So those are a few learnings also. Like these things we also didn't know about it initially. Like obviously, we when we were speaking, like in the initial years, we were also hearing all these problems that people were having around a product, and over the years we have
Hmm.
enhanced our products to make it in such a way. So even right now, like if you see, like uh, if you see the market, like there are many other cheaper brands and things like that, like obviously in the
Hmm.
market. And one of the most common questions that we get is, why is she cup expensive? Like, why is it a premium? So what is the reason, what is the actual reason behind it being a premium product is the quality of the materials that we use. Now, as Aparna said, like, back in 1932, these guys made menstrual cups, like post World War, they made it out of rubber, and they made it out of like some other material. So these kind of things are also prevalent today in the market, right? Like people make it out of rubber, or people make it out of plastic, or people make it out of cheap silicone, which is not really conducive in our experience. But our products, like if you see on our website also, our products have been tested, and only then we finalize. Like, so the products have gone through intrication tests, implementation tests, and all these various tests and multiple clinical trials. I'm proud to actually say that we are one of the most heavily endorsed brands out there, and so even when Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they came to India to do a study on menstrual hygiene and menstrual hygiene and around the taboo of menstrual hygiene and sustainable waste. Instead of getting an American brand over here, they chose us to partner with them because they found our brand to be the most heavily endorsed by senior gynecologists, have gone through multiple clinical trials. So with them, there were around 960 women in the rural parts of Bihar who took part in the study with us, and with them, and with a third-party research organization also, which was funded by them. And with them, we did this extensive study of menstrual hygiene waste and menstrual and the taboos and the things around menstrual hygiene, and how adoption of a menstrual cup will be much easier. So even today, in my own personal experience in working with this organization and being a part of this community, I would say people in the rural areas are more open to these kind of ideas and adoption of sustainable menstrual practices, because there are a few reasons to it, right? Like as Aparna said, she went into the mangroves and she was,
The
like body
nature of
deep,
work,
like a half a body deep into water and things like that. So not only are they connected with nature, but also their makes it very uncomfortable for them to adopt, say, like a pad or tampon where you're feeling uncomfortable. Like women usually in rural areas work physically on the fields or the farms, or are doing some sort of physical manual labor on a regular basis, and having like it is having 4 days off or 5 days off or 7 days off or whatever during your period is not a luxury that they can afford, to be very honest. So right, like it's something that urban people can afford, but they can't. So one and a few other reasons. So we've been doing these projects in, say, Leh Ladakh and Spiti Valley also. The reason of motivation for them is very different. The reason of motivation for them is because 6 months during the winter, I told you about this, Aparna, Pallavi, last time, right? 6 months during the winter season, no access through roads, no access through like air is also very this thing. So that's why the pad and the tampon supplies get limited and get used up faster. So that's but you don't stop menstruating when you're on your during the winters. So so that's why that's why they adopted Shika, because it became more convenient for them. Coming back to the same point as what Aparna said, like it becomes more of a convenience thing for them, because you don't need to buy anything else. Like you can just sterilize this and keep using it over and over and over again for those 5-6 months where you have no access to anything. So that's how we've seen the Indian society evolve around this conversation that we initially started, and took it forward towards sustainable menstruation.
Yeah, and I'm so it's so adorable, the passion with which you really talk about all of this. I mean, you are really, isn't it, Aparna? I mean, the way he really presents.
It's from the whole concept of sustainability and zero waste, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
talking about it. That's what's important. I think that's how you educate people the concept of there are two kinds of people I've seen. There are a lot of people who are very, very environmentally conscious who want to switch. So once they
Correct.
know that regular pads have toxins and plastic and they're
Hmm.
just lying on earth in these landfills, it's just an immediate, for me, that itself was shocking, and you're surprised you didn't know that for so many years. And then there are other kind who probably do it for their own comfort. So both, the menstrual cup is for, has benefits for everybody, right? So it's like
Yeah.
perfect number one choice. When I sent you the article, also I written one here
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
local magazine. I said for sustainable, I said menstruation, first choice. But now today I'm learning about these biodegradable pads having plastic, which I wasn't sure because I've been told that coconut fiber or bamboo fiber can
Yeah, I have
biodegrade
understood that also, that those are the
Yes, but
first, yeah, the best option for
because they
sustainable
make cups
menstruation,
also with
followed by
that,
the
right?
cup. Yeah.
But I'm
but
saying here
but
also now.
the lacing under those biodegradable pads so that they do not leak. At least most of the brands that I have seen, that
Okay.
I have experience with, and we also called for some of their products to check out for ourselves, like what
I
is
think
actually about
yeah,
it.
best is like I always even sometimes even for those eco-friendly bags and all that, just put in your
Yeah,
own compost and just check it
yeah,
in like 6 months or 7 months, right? You'll figure out how genuine something is. I mean,
yeah.
if you take it to a lab and test it, fine. But for those who are conscious, but I really wish, like now I'm just feeling a little sad because I thought that is an option for some people, at least when they're
Yeah.
13 to 16, whatever, right? And uh, I don't know because I worked for another NGO and they were promoting that also. Now I'm learning something, but it's all, you're constantly learning and unlearning, and especially with
So
sustainability.
I
Uh,
would like to add one more point over there, right? Like it also so these kind of things, right? Like in my own experience, like this is not that major a point, but I think it's worthwhile to understand, the entire picture. Is so these crops are usually cash crops, which are grown on land, on pieces of land, right? Like and when they are converted into say biodegradable pads or whatever, there is a certain amount of water that goes in. There may be certain amount of pesticides and
um,
fertilizers that also go in them. Apart from those chemicals and the water consumption of these certain crops, say like bamboo or say any other
but coconut
water.
fiber, what my
Yeah,
understanding, once again, the coconut waste, coconut fiber, what
yeah,
you call, they weave
correct,
sarees also. Once
correct.
again, my understanding was I met a weaver in some village near Chennai, and he's come in some Guinness book and all of that also. And then he
Yeah,
was telling me that he was not talking about pads, he was just talking about coconut fiber being in
correct.
excess, and you
Yeah,
can convert it into different things, is what he
correct, correct,
told me.
correct.
But I am understanding what you're saying. When you make your pad, of course, the sari and the bag is a different story. But for a pad, you need to have something which is holding on to the
And
liquid.
then apart from these points also, right, like with the comparison between a cash crop and a food crop and things like that, like a food scarcity and
Mm-hmm.
keeping all those things in mind. Apart from that, when you dispose say even a biodegradable pad, it has biological matter on it which becomes a
Mm-hmm.
breeding ground for vector borne diseases, because it also depends on how how you dispose it,
Correct.
most people would just chuck it into the dustbin or
Hmm.
somewhere,
Yeah.
just throw it. And like not everywhere, not in every community, the recycling or the reuse or the disposable
Waste
mechanisms are
segregation
so
also is not there. Yeah.
correct.
So
so
I want to
so
ask you a question. Yeah, okay. I'm really curious if why India still doesn't have then a period underwear. Wouldn't that be a big, easy thing for so many young kids? I mean, it just seems like things that the American brand or whatever. Like my German
yeah.
friend got this German brand taken off everywhere else. How can India in 2021 not have a period underwear? Like, is there a reason for that?
I think like I'm not sure about like what is the reason, like for us, like as an organization we are solely dedicated to menstrual cups because we
Okay.
find it outweighing everything else. But also with the period underwear, right, like there has to be a certain amount of absorption material which is also to
Uh,
do with which is also to do with plastic and things like that, because naturally absorbing, naturally absorbent materials are laced with certain amount of chemicals or certain amount of plastic to it to make them that absorbent. So that is one of the reasons why we don't dabble into those kind of practices
Okay, I
or
understand. Yeah.
to do with our sustainability vision. But it definitely would work for younger people, as you rightly said. But the thing was that again, right? Like even why I like apart from Shika, why I also advocate about say reusable pads, which like our associates like Ecofem make, is because those pads are washable, right? Like you can wash off the biological matter from it and then dry it
Mm.
off and hang it. You don't need to dispose the pad off. And disposal of the pad, say like a biodegradable pad or a normal pad, also leads to these vector-borne diseases that I said, right? Like because it leads to all these things. So malaria, dengue, and all these vector-borne diseases, it becomes a breeding ground for them. So it's very like to understand the whole concept of sustainability. We like apart from the whole picture of sustainability, we also need to understand these other factors that influence, influence the use of these products, as well as what happens post disposal of such a
Yes.
product. So that's something very interesting to also to keep in mind, and most people don't really think about it from these many angles. Obviously, we ourselves didn't think about it initially, but like because being in the field for so long, like being hearing things, seeing new products come up over the past decade and things like that, we ourselves get educated about these things on a regular basis. And so that is
Yeah.
one of the reasons why that's actually one of the reasons why I know so much about it, because I've seen them firsthand. Like I've seen these products firsthand. We've seen like what goes into them, and what what is claimed, or the kind of greenwashing that we were talking about, Pallavi, before. You
Mhm.
remember, like so
Yeah.
those kind of things are also prevalent in the society. So that's I think that's one of the reasons why like people also opt for these options and
Yeah.
not menstrual cups, because
The conventional
bombardment.
method,
Yeah.
so that, yeah. So let's just go to these few questions that we have received,
Yes.
because I think Aparna, Ganesh answered the ones that you had received, right? Do you have any
Yes,
specific
I
ones
think it.
that okay, so there is one here which
No.
says by what age it is recommended for young girls to use a she cup. I think you're suggesting 16 to 17, right, Ganesh?
Yeah, like 15, 15 is also a good age. It as we see, like as as generations further on, girls are getting periods earlier, like very soon. Like
Correct.
we heard some girls get periods at the age of 9, 8, 9 also. So that's just that's just the way of evolution, like societal evolution that we are seeing. So every time, like in every decade, the menstrual age, the age would further reduce. But
Reduce.
as of now, like as of now in this time and being, we recommend that for 15, 16 would be a good age to start adopting a menstrual cup or a she cup, rather than like pads or tampons
So
or
there's
any other
no,
product.
so if I understand, there is no physical limitation to using a cup sooner, but it is more
No,
about your mental conditioning, about
correct.
how exposed you are to the concept and how
Exactly.
deeper you
Exactly.
are into the process, so that it's not a very overwhelming process for you, right? That's what
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
understand correctly. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly the point, because once in the initial days, if you have a bad experience, you're never going to go back to it
Yeah.
in
It
your
puts
entire
you off.
lifetime. Like
Yeah.
you never, yeah, you're never going to
Want to go
adopt
back
such
to
a
trying
practice
it
again, because
again.
you, yeah. So
Correct,
that's one of the
correct.
reasons why we say, like 15, 16 is a good age to experiment and try, and yeah. So I think that's that.
Okay, and yeah, and then we have somebody saying that they want to ask questions, but there are no questions here. And
Okay.
then we have a couple of comments really praising you for being able to talk so well about a concept which is not a very male driven. People shy away from it, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
even now, it's not very easy to because there is no father daughter connection when it comes to menstruation. Yeah,
Mhm.
I hardly see that happening even in
Yeah.
this age and time. It is
Correct.
very rare that people have a conversation. It's mostly the mother's
Correct.
thing to really bear. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, with that, I think if we get any further questions, we'll definitely direct it your way. But I think
Definitely.
Our Better Planet is really proud to be partnering with Shikha because I really can sense your commitment to the product through the way you really passionately talk about it and the way you are actually so sold into the concept. And it's not only a product, it almost seems like that to me for you because it is something that it's an awareness that you're trying to create.
Yeah.
And you're doing a great job at it, I think. So thanks so
We,
much for
so
sharing.
that's the thing, Aparna, sorry, Pallavi, that's the thing, right? Like we are we are heavily we are not we are not trying to sell, like, say, She Cup, right? Like we are not we are not here to, like, it's not a business as such. It's a
Correct.
socio-economic enterprise. We truly believe in education. Like, we truly believe in letting the society know that, okay, there is something better out there. There is something
Hmm.
more to those days. Like, you don't need to hide out in those days. You don't need to let those days limit you in any sense, or
Yeah.
in any sense. Whether it is you like, during those days you can't go for a swim because you're wearing a pad
Hmm.
or you're wearing a tampon.
Correct.
You don't, like, that doesn't need to happen. Like, and we truly believe in that empowerment. We truly believe in that commitment to the cause, because I think that is what is more important today. Our organization, like, today the concept of our organization is that we think this is our research and our thing, like, whatever studies that we have done, we think this is the answer to the problem. But tomorrow, if that changes and something better comes along, we are
Yeah.
committed to the cause and not the product
Adapt. Yeah.
itself. We want to
Yes.
solve that problem of sustainable menstruation. So that was, like, my closing comments on that. But thank you so much for having me over here, and it was such a pleasure to have this live with you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thanks, Aparna, for joining us and sharing your experience because it is the most vital. It's so fresh, and we know that, this is what people are going through. And then through you, we got so many questions, and I hope we answered a few. And
I
whoever
think
has
you
any
answered
more,
everything. I just also want to finish off with it. It just comes down to awareness. I think overall with
Yeah.
sustainability, that's the issue. So I'm just going to talk to school also after now. Again, we're in lockdown. If we
Yeah.
could have these conversations with younger kids and in international schools, yeah, we'll get that moving. We went for
yeah,
Meat Free Mondays and that's been passed on. So I'll talk to my zero waste group. I think it's just about really educating kids, not just from mother to daughter, from school, from a
from
larger,
all directions.
perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, from all directions, creating
Uh,
awareness and
Also, like,
yeah.
one of my suggestions to you would be, like, like, when you do some programs like these, please don't exclude, like, men from it or boys from it, right? Like, because it's very important for them to also
Yeah, yeah.
understand that
Also,
that
yes.
it is like, no, because we think, right, like, so we initially started these conversations, right? Like, and what happened is, people now claim themselves to be menstrual health management experts and things like that. And what they do is, usually they gather a group of women and they talk about it and things like that, right? But that is what we initially did was not that. Everyone was welcomed.
No,
It
it
is
is
not
just
something.
limiting the conversation. It's
Yeah,
just limiting.
exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, it doesn't
So,
help,
so
but Ganesh, it's very difficult because
correct, correct.
it's not something that you can very easily achieve. And
I understand.
to that point, I would like to talk a little bit about these books which are available for girls.
Yes.
There's one by Niyati Shah, there's one by Tiska Chopra, And the good thing that I liked about these books was that they are actually talking about the boy side of puberty also. So there are so
Yes,
many changes which are happening there, which we are not
absolutely,
aware of, and then because of that,
absolutely.
there is no empathy.
Yeah,
They are not aware of what bodily changes are happening to the other sex, and it really creates unnecessary curiosity and leads to unnecessary kind of behaviors.
yes,
So if we can curb that, then why
yeah,
not? But I think that's another topic for
yeah.
discussion
Yeah.
Yeah,
another
true, true.
day. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll
So that
definitely
was
get
that
to
that was
that.
just my suggestion, because we ourselves, like, when we did menstrual health management programs, we ourselves were men who were conducting these kind of programs, right? Like, so
Yeah.
it actually helped us break the taboo in a more effective way,
I'm
because
sure. Yeah.
even when men came to our conversation and they left being, they used to tell us, oh, we actually didn't know that. And not like young boys, or, like,
Men.
24, 25,
Mm.
but men, like, who are like, nearing 40s, or are in their 50s, like, who were just there and were like, oh wow, we didn't know about that. I'm gonna buy it for my wife, I'm gonna buy it for my girlfriend, or whatever, like. And those,
Mm.
those kind of those kind of conversations also happened with them, and things like that. So which is very interesting, and very, very,
Yes.
like, very helpful for the society also. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. So we'll keep doing this over and over again, and we'll try to, because the idea that our better planet is based on the same concept that you're talking about for She Cup. It's not about the product. As and when practices change, if a better practice comes up, we will definitely adapt. We will ask
Correct.
our audience to adapt, because it's all about the impact that we create.
Correct.
So with that, I'll just end this conversation here, and thank you guys so much for joining us. And people who were listening to us, if you have any questions, do send it our way, and we'll try to answer them as best as possible. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so
See
much.
Thank,
you. Bye.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.